The coronavirus pandemic is one of the most destructive events in the history of the world. The virus itself, of course, but also the lockdowns, championed here by Dr. Anthony Fauci, who's now been given even more power by President Biden. Here was Fauci last week.
I am honored to announce that the United States will remain a member of the World Health Organization. Yesterday, President Biden signed letters retracting the previous administration's announcement to withdraw from the organization. And those letters have been transmitted to the Secretary General of the United Nations and to you, Dr. Tedros, my dear friend.
Seems to us that after the facts we're about to lay out for you, Dr. Fauci is going to need dear friends in high places. In the next few minutes, you'll see the evidence that points to the most likely cause of the pandemic, and it is worse than anything you've heard so far. The story starts with one of the pandemic's more surprising side effects. You may have heard late last year that Denmark decided to cull its entire population of mink. Here in America, a mink in Utah was the first wild animal found to have the virus. So what is it with the mink? Well, it turns out that mink and related animals have respiratory systems that operate similarly to humans. That's why about 10 years ago, researchers at Erasmus Medical Center in the Netherlands embarked on a series of experiments involving ferrets. They were trying to see if a virus that starts off without the ability to be transmitted through the air can eventually gain that ability. The answer was yes. They discovered that by injecting an influenza virus from one ferret to another until the virus mutated enough to be transmitted through the air by aerosol droplets. This led to the creation of an entirely new type of scientific research made possible by advances in gene technology or genomics. It was called gain-of-function virus research. The idea was to replicate in a lab what had been done with those ferrets, to take a virus and then manipulate its genetic code to make it stronger and more powerful. The virus would gain new functions, hence the name. Gain-of-function virus research, for some, showed huge promise. If we could engineer the most contagious, deadly viruses ourselves in lab conditions, we could learn about potential treatments and vaccines without the calamity of an actual outbreak. The driving principle of gain-of-function research was a noble one. Know your enemy so you can better prepare to fight it. Over the years, gain-of-function virus research has been carried out all over the world with funding from our own National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease. And one of the leading laboratories in gain-of-function research was based in China. It's a place the world has come to know well, the Wuhan Institute of Virology. But as well as having great potential to help mankind, gain-of-function research could also hurt us. Imagine if a deadly virus engineered in the lab to be incredibly contagious somehow escaped from the lab. It could wreak havoc precisely because it was designed to do that, not by nature, but by us. For this reason, gain-of-function research has always been highly controversial. In fact, in 2014, the Obama-administration went so far as to place a complete moratorium on this kind of research, quote, following recent biosafety incidents at federal research facilities. Here's what they said at the time. The funding pause will apply to gain-of-function research projects that may be reasonably anticipated to confer attributes to influenza, MERS, or SARS viruses, such that the virus would have enhanced pathogenicity and or transmissibility in mammals via the respiratory route. Now, despite the controversy surrounding this type of research, it always had one steadfast champion, a leading figure in the world of infectious diseases, Anthony Fauci. His institute funded that first ferret study. At the time, he co-wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post describing this research as, quote, a risk worth taking. Important information and insights can come from generating a potentially dangerous virus in the laboratory. And shortly before the Obama administration's ban on gain-of-function research in 2014, Fauci commissioned this. It was a project to assess the risk of new coronaviruses emerging from wild animals, like bats. One of its stated aims was to see what viruses can infect both animals and humans. Now pay close attention to these words right at the end of the project summary. Predictive models of host range, i.e. emergence potential, will be tested experimentally using reverse genetics pseudovirus and receptor binding assays, and virus infection experiments across a range of cell cultures from different species and humanized mice. That is a description of viral gain-of-function research, the exact type of research that the Obama administration stopped. But Fauci didn't stop it. He continued on by subcontracting it to this group, EcoHealth Alliance, based in New York. It's run by a big name in the field of virus research, Peter Daszak. He's a zoologist who specializes in wildlife diseases. His claim to fame, and it's a big one, is that he was the person who first discovered the bat origin of the SARS pandemic just over a decade ago. Daszak established that the virus came from bats via a civet cat in a Chinese market. Ever since then, Daszak developed a reputation as the Batman. He and his team would literally go to remote jungle caves to collect bat samples for scientific research. The project that Fauci commissioned gave EcoHealth Alliance more than $3 million over the course of 6 years, despite the Obama administration's ban. And here we come to the crucial step, which has never before been reported. Peter Daszak himself subcontracted a key piece of the Fauci project, the gain-of-function piece. He gave that to a well-known center of expertise in gain-of-function virus research, which specialized in bat coronaviruses. Yep, he gave it to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. The question is, did they give it to us?